Hello, and welcome to the Kitchen Knitter podcast. My name is Suzanne, the Kitchen Knitter, and this is my little space on YouTube where I share with you what I've been knitting. It's been a while. I think I last podcast in July, and since then we put our house up for sale, and we've moved into this house. See, new kitchen. 10 days before Christmas, and it is a kind of a next chapter. We've moved about 100 miles south. We now live in South Leicestershire. We live near Market Harborough. We live in a village, but we live near our nearest towns are Lutterworth and Market Harborough. Market Harborough is lovely. Lutterworth's lovely, but Market Harborough is very, very nice, and it's not far. It's about 7 miles away. It's lovely. It's got a white company. Oh, and no yarn shops though. But having said that, we know of some very good online yarn shops, don't we? I used to live near one, and so we decided to move, and we put the house up for sale. Yeah, I've said all that, and we now live in a new build. We have downsized massively. Our house wasn't big by any imagination. It wasn't a big house, but it was too big for two people. It was a family house, and we found we weren't using all the rooms. It was, yeah. We were not said we were rattling around it, but anyway. So we decided to put the house up for sale, and at the same time, I made the decision to retire, because at one point we still wanted to stay in Poynton. We just wanted a smaller house. But then when I actually made the decision that I would retire, my husband said, well, we could live anywhere, couldn't we? So I immediately thought of this village where we live now, because we've been here a few times, and it's a lovely village. I've got to know it quite well. It's really nice. And our elder daughter doesn't live far away. So it's lovely. I think my husband was thinking about Somerset, Devon, something down south, but I said, no, what about this one? So it's a new build. It's a chalet bungalow. It's not, so it looks like a bungalow from outside, but if you look at the roof, there's Velux windows, and that's our bedroom, and it's a sort of, and it's really lovely. I've got an ensuite as well, which I'm so excited about. I've never had one of those before, except on holidays. And yeah, so it's the next chapter. I haven't had really time to sort of miss going to it. I miss the work. I miss the people I worked with. They were lovely, but I haven't really. It's still kind of like a honeymoon period where I think, yes, the holiday's over and everything will get back to normal. But we now have a new normal, and yeah. But at the same time, I've not had an awful lot of time to stitch or knit. We had a lot of viewings. We needed to keep the house tidy. I had sort of styled my craft room nicely with bits of embroidery and things like that about the place, making it pretty. And I didn't want to disturb anything really. So that was a couple of the comments were, it's a very pretty house, or it's what the estate agent. When I phoned about something else, she said, oh, thank you for doing that to your house. She said, it's beautiful. I said, what do you mean? She said, the way you've styled it. I said, no, it's like that all the time. I can faff for England. Faff for England. Not do anything seriously, just faff. Anyhow, I will show you what is on my needles. I've done the usual thing of started something, changed my mind, and then started something and then changed my mind again. So I think I'm settled on what I'm knitting now. I also plan on, I shouldn't say these things out loud because it never comes to fruition, but I would like to do short podcasts and have a lot more to show you. Oh, I've not brought down my finished thing. Hang on. I'm on the other side of I like to call it the island, but it's actually like a peninsula. It's attached to the wall, and this is the dividing bit between us and the living area. It's open plan, which is something new to me. Oh, I'm out of breath. I ran up the stairs and back again. The beauty of downsizing is I didn't have that far to go for it. So I'm sitting on a stool on the other side, so I've got my knees up against a cupboard. However, let's see how this goes. So I finished a thing, and this is the Fawn cardigan by Kim Hargreaves, and it is perfectly simple, stocking stitch, round neck, and you knit the button band as you go along, which is great because there's no sewing up, because my sewing isn't terribly neat. But this is just perfectly plain cardigan, and I used some little sort of pearlized buttons. Oh, I've chipped my nail there. So this is the Fawn cardigan by Kim Hargreaves. It was in her book Cherished, and I knit it in Cardiff cashmere, classic. Yeah, cashmere. Yeah, cashmere classic. I can't remember what the colour is. They don't put names on them on the ball band. They just put a number, and I think it was 501. But I have talked about this in previous podcasts, but I've actually finished it. I have a finished thing. So I think that'll be really nice in the spring with my linen dresses. So that's a finished one. Oh, it's so soft. It's gorgeous. And I haven't worn it yet, but sort of, it doesn't look as if it's going to pill too much. I bought a jumper from the White Company, treated myself, and it pills like billy-o. It really does. It does say on the label that due to it being cashmere, it will pill, but gosh, none of my other jumpers have pilled like that one. I'm going to have to buy a depiller, whatever it's called. Anyway, that's my finished object. Fawn. I can't remember how it's spelt now. Is it F-A-W-N or F-A-U-N? I can't remember, but it's in the Cherished book. And it was a very easy knit, but you knit it on quite fine needles, so it does take a while. But I'm really pleased with it, and I do like that colour. It's very neutral. I'm into the neutrals at the moment, although the next thing I'm showing you is not going to be neutral. Right, so that's my finished object, and then everything else is kind of on the needles or in a plan. So I think I've shown you these before, and I abandoned them. These are the Roger socks by Knitspot. I don't think I've got a name. Anne Hanson. There's next to the copyright at the bottom there is Anne Hanson. And these are the Roger socks, and I'm knitting them in yarn from John Arbon. It was a mill member special. I think they go on sale, general sale afterwards. I haven't got. Yes, I have got the ball band, and it's Nervous Fibre yarn, and it is that's the colourway, which veiled, and it's Exmoor sock. This is hand dyed in Glasgow, so they use the Nervous Fibre. I don't know the dye's name. Uses John Arbon's Exmoor sock and dyes it up, and it is the most gorgeous colours, gorgeous, beautiful colours. And this is as far as I've got, because I made a mistake. As you can see, I've got to sit in a very good light to do this, and I started the sock and made a mistake and tried to rectify it, and just made an absolute mess of it. So I had to start again, and it kind of puts me off a bit. I sort of think, well, I'm going to ignore that for a while. But I've come back to it, and as long as I sit in a good light, it's a 16-row pattern, and it's just, you see, you can vaguely see it, and it's lovely. And it's I knit on 9-inch circulars, 2.5 I think they are, yeah, 2.5. 2.25 is a bit too tight for me. So 2.5, and I've just got little markers in to show me, because the pattern is a block of, I think it's 16 stitches, I can't remember, and you go along. So that just keeps me right, as long as I've, and then I can easily identify where I've made a mistake. That's the theory anyway. So those are the socks. So I've returned to those. I'm half on and half off this stool. I'm not very good with stools. This is okay. It's got, I don't know if you can see, it's got a bit of a back to it. But some stools, you know, when you're in a pub and you're at the bar and you sort of, I always think I'm going to go off the other side. I'm not very elegant getting on and off a stool. Not very elegant in anything really, but more so as a getting on and off a stool. But they're very comfortable. My husband was a bit, I don't want a bar stool. But you know, he sits on it all the time. He's always on the bar stool. Oh, I've got to show you this. When I did retire, my lovely friends who I worked with, colleagues, lovely friends, one of the presents I got, I was so spoilt, one of them was this. The Kitchen Knitter, isn't it lovely? And it's such a beautiful, pretty mug. Gorgeous. So this will feature, I think, a lot in my podcast, and certainly on the photo. I've taken a photograph for the thumbnail. I make awful thumbnail, and I don't know if you can see, but you can see the utensils I've got. That they bought me that too. I think it's a vase, but you know, I like it out every day, and I put my wooden spoons and things in there by the side of the hob. Yeah, no Aga. And you know, I don't really miss it. Because it was lovely when it was on all the time. The kitchen was so cozy, and then it was so expensive. So, and there was only 2 of us, so we had it changed to electric, and it's not the same. The Aga wasn't on all the time, so when you touch was cold, and the kitchen just lost that. I don't know. It was, but I mean, I still had the aesthetic, but it wasn't quite the same. But this is a Neff. And I'm not sponsored. I'm just telling you what the make is, and it's this is a combination oven, kind of a microwavey thing. I haven't quite got to grips with that, but this is the oven down here. 5 minutes it takes to get up to 200 degrees if I'm putting a quiche or a roast in. 200. Well, it should be 190 actually, because it's fan assisted. So I keep forgetting that it's 190. But 5 minutes it takes to get to temperature, which should be an hour and a half with the Aga. But it's amazing how I've quickly adapted. Yeah. Oh, and as a lot of podcasters have, we have a coffee machine. Now I bought that for my husband for his birthday, and it does make lovely coffee. I'm not a great coffee drinker. A flat white will do me, and I'm a bit of a Philistine. I always quite liked instant coffee, but that makes a lovely flat white. We haven't quite experimented with all the coffees that it does, but at the moment flat white is perfect. It's lovely. It's not bitter. It's smooth. It's lovely. The other thing that's on my needles, and I think I've shown you this yarn before, but I started knitting a cardigan, and then I changed my mind. So I'm now knitting a jumper, and I'm knitting, I've photocopied it from the book, because I thought I could, when we moved, we stayed with my daughter for a few days, because this house wasn't completed until the 15th, but we actually moved out on the 9th. So we had a couple of nights in a hotel in Derbyshire, which was like our last hurrah, and then we came down and stayed with my daughter. So I thought I'd have something easy to knit and on hand. So I'm knitting this, and I think I've done. Yes, I have. There we go. And that's it is the Temperate sweater by Kim Hargreaves, and this is in the book still, and you knit it in, the call for yarn is Rowan Mohair Haze, and it just says Mohair Haze, not Kid Silk Haze, Mohair Haze, and I'm not very keen on mohair next to the skin. I mean, oh, Oh, there's a load of snow falling off the roof there. It's the sun shining, so I mean, it is so icy out there. I went out to take some stuff to the bin, and I was slipping and sliding. But now the sun's come. It's snow's falling off the roofs now. We didn't have the predicted amount. It was the Midlands was supposed to get to about 12 inches, but we got about 3 inches. And it's sort of sat there, and now it's iced over. I think it got to -1 last night, but the sun hasn't reached our garden yet, so it's not melting. But I just had to walk on the grass. It was a bit crunchy. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Rowan mohair haze, but I don't like mohair. I find mohair a little scratchy, and it's not kid silk mohair, it's just mohair haze. So I thought, even though I love that colour is beautiful, it is knitted in tender. That colour is tender. So I'm knitting it in, and I think I've shown you this yarn before because I started to knit a cardigan by a Gepard design, and changed my mind. So this is Gepard's Wild and Soft, which is a mixture of 40% wild tussar silk and 60% merino, and it's a Danish yarn, and it's the colorway is 422. I think it's rose. I think it's rose. It's called rose. Anyway, it's a sort of pinky lilac. No, I wouldn't. No, it's hard to describe that color. That's coming up a bit lighter on camera than it is, but it's gorgeous. I'll show you the knitting. See, maybe that's a bit better. So that's as much as I've done, because you're knitting them on, I think it's 3mm needles. These are Chigo needles. I've started replacing all my needles. I knit with, my husband bought me a complete set of the Symphony Knit Pro when I first started using circular needles. Oh, a long time, must be about 20 years ago. And they're great, but now they're starting to sort of chip a bit, and they're not sharp, and some are interchangeable and some are fixed. And they were all interchangeable in the pack he bought me, and I've since bought some fixed circulars, but even then there's that ridge along here, and even I'm just replacing the needles as I knit a new pattern, and I've treated myself to a few. This is a sort of a mixture of 3mm, but I've got a longer cable on that one. These are fixed circulars, so it's 3, and then a 3 mil on 24 inches and a 32 inch, and I've got another one somewhere, which anyway. But you start off, I think I've said before, I don't like knitting top down because of all the stitches on the needle. You start off, for my size, I had to put over 400 stitches on the needle, and then cast off, and then cast off again. Well, cast off and then knit, then purl, to get it down to something like 120 stitches, and then you do a little bit of side shaping with some increasing and decreasing. So that's it's all a bit curled up, but that's the frill at the bottom, and the frill is obviously the front and the back, and it's on the sleeves as well, the sleeve cuff as well, and it's just a round neck. So I'm knitting it in pieces. When I'm knitting in pieces, I think, oh, I wish I was knitting this in the round. I'm so contrary. But it's fine. It's fine. It's just I love the colour, and I love the way it's knitting up too. And I've got one of these little doobries, these things, and I've got the right tension. So that's okay, because yeah, I think it was the same. This was the same tension as 26 stitches, 36 rows, and this is 26 to 28, 34 to 38 rows, so near as damn it. But yeah, I've got about 10 balls for my size. It's not it goes from a size extra small to an XXL, so it goes from an 81 centimetre bust to 109 centimetre bust. I wouldn't have thought, that's not terribly size inclusive, is it? But I think, I mean, this is a book can't remember, this must be about 10 years old, this book, maybe even older. So, but her more recent books, of course she's not designing anymore, but the more recent books I think are far more size inclusive. But that's what's on my needles, and I pick that up and just knit while watching television. I do. The thing is though, I either watch the television or I knit. I can't do both. So I usually I'll sit in front of the television when there's football on. Well, I could not be less interested in football. And my husband's treated himself to a package. I can't remember what package it is. I don't know if it's a Sky package or whatever, but he can watch all the matches that he had to listen to on the radio when he's treated himself to anyway. But my granddaughter can watch Frozen on it, so she's happy. She loves Frozen. And I'm getting word perfect at it now because it has to be on every time she comes around. So, and she's coming around this afternoon, so we'll be on the Frozen. Elsa and Arla. Don't know. We went round Market Harborough on, I think it was New Year's Eve. It was one day, and she'd come and she insisted on wearing her Elsa dress that my daughter had got on Vinted. She had that on. She had her trainers on. She had a bluey coat, and then I bought them because we'd gone out one day and Ted was cold and he was on his bike and he had his helmet on. So I bought them these little skull caps that they can wear under a cycling helmet. Rose doesn't cycle. She has a scooter, an Elsa scooter, and so they put them. So she decided she was wearing hers when we went out in the afternoon. She looked like she belonged to nobody actually, but everyone was oh oh dear. Anyway, so that's one thing on my needles. I'm going to thud it down to the floor. Then this I don't think I've shown you. I think I started this before Christmas, and it's taken me a couple of goes to get my head around this one. And it is the Darcy cardigan by Lynette, and that's her name there. Scandinavian. I'm not sure. I'm going to say Danish because the call for yarn is Sandnesgarn. I think is it Sandnesgarn? I don't know how. I might be murdering that. And so I'm knitting it in the call for yarn. I bought this from Tangled Yarn not long before we moved away. Not long before we moved, and the call for yarn is the Sandnesgarn Sunday and the tin silk mohair, and I'm using the colour. This is dark olive. Now I'm using the Sandnesgarn in dark olive. Where is it? Here we go. There we go. Sandnesgarn, and that's the dark olive. It's gorgeous green. But I'm not using the tin silk mohair. I'm using this. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it, but it's a lace weight yarn. This Y Sandnesgarn, and it's 100% alpaca, whereas the Sunday is 100% merino wool. So it's merino and alpaca together, and it's lovely. But I've only literally just cast on. I did start. Oh, here we are. I did start something. You might get an idea of what it looks like. I changed my mind again. I thought, no, I'm not knitting top down. Just the thing with this top down is you've got German short rows and then you've got the raglan shaping, and it's all happening on the same row, and it was too much for my brain at the time. I mean, I am a bear of a very little brain, and I thought, oh, it's too much for me to cope with at the moment. So I thought, right, well, I'll knit a plain cardigan from one of Kim Hargreaves' books, and I started it, and I thought, no, I like the style of that cardigan. It would go with so many things I wear. So, but this was it knitted up. doing the rib. What's that? Where's that come from? There. Sort of knitted up. So it's not too fluffy. There's a little bit of a halo, tiny little bit of a halo, but it is very soft. It's not, and I don't know, I think because I've knitted a couple of fluffy things, I wanted to knit something more matte looking, for want of a better word. So these are the two together, and this is dark olive. They're both colourways are dark olive. You can see where I've unpicked. So because I think I was trying to watch a podcast and do it at the same time, which was silly of me, because there's no way I can do that. Got all this tied up. So again, I'm knitting it on Call For needles are, I should put that bit away. I don't know why I'm keeping this, because I've got plenty of yarn, but you never know. So I'll just shove it down there. I've got my redesigned bag. What was I going to show? Oh, I'm talking about the needles. Then you knit them on 4mm needles, and you also have to have 3 and 3.5, and also and 3mm double pointed to do the sleeves. Well, I'll just put them on 9-inch. I've got some 9-inch circulars on, or yeah, I've got some, I think 9-inch. These are all the needles. These are all the needles that I've got. Again, I bought some new needles from, and I got this yarn and the needles from Tangled Yarn. But I could go in person there. I'm going to have to shop online now, which isn't a hardship at all. I like sofa shopping. And yeah, it's yes, it's German short rows, top down, and with a raglan. There's some sleeve shaping. So I think I am actually challenging myself with this pattern, but it's lovely. It's I think it will go with so many things, and it's cropped. I don't have to, because I knitted a jumper, the Yakas jumper by Isabel Kramer, and I cropped that. I didn't knit it as long, and I'm not sure I don't know. I wish perhaps I made it a little bit longer. Whereas this is actually, you know, this is a properly cropped cardigan, which I shouldn't have trouble with. Yeah, so the Darcy cardigan is a raglan cardigan featuring extra shoulder detail that create a flattering fit. So we'll see. So next time I podcast, I should have a bit more to show you on that, because this is beautiful yarn to use, and it's not silly expensive either. But it's really gorgeous. Some of the colours they have are lovely. So I'm going to thud this one to the floor. I'll put it on top of the one. That's not too bad. Right, so that's what. Oh no, one more to show you on my needles. And this is a cardigan, and it's in a because it's so huge, it's in a French market basket. Right, I'll show you the pattern first. This is a Rowan pattern. It's called Lara, and I think it was a free pattern, but just in case we want. So that's the pattern. Now I really liked that colour, and it is, I think it's Glum. Yes, it's Glum, big wool Glum, but that's the actual colour. I was a bit disappointed when it came. I bought it from Wool Warehouse, and it's Rowan big wool. So of course I've gone from knitting something on 2 3/4 needles, 3mm needles, to knitting on these are 9 and 10-inch. So it's proper clumsy, but it's quick. I'm just leaning down to get this. So I started knitting it, and a bit disappointed because, I mean, I made a mistake. That's why I'm unpicking it. I made a mistake on this bit. It's just too big to show you. I made a mistake on this bit here. I'd got all this done, so all I had to do, excuse me, was the sleeves. And on one of the rows here, I started to, it went wrong. It stopped and I was doing the wrong. What did I do? I started purling instead of knitting, but and I thought, oh, it'll be fine, you know. So I put it on my mannequin to look at it, and I thought, no, my eye just went straight to it, and I didn't. But also, every now and again, you get a funny little join in the yarn, and if we're not looking, you know, aware, you just can be knitting away, and then suddenly this little knot, which sometimes can be disguised in other ways, was kind of poking through here, and I thought, oh, that just looks a mess. So I'm unpicking. See, it's massive. I'm not. So, well, if I've sewn the front. Obviously, I sewed the front and the back, the fronts and the back together to do the neckline. And it's a sort of a T shape, and then you then put a cuff on that bit. So it's a droopy shouldered, but I think I've spotted a couple, but I've managed to sort of poke them through onto the sleeve, those little funny little knots. It's annoying because you're not supposed to join in the middle of there's one there. But I've managed to do it so it's on the inside of the sleeve, so that's all right, and it hasn't pulled a stitch or anything. But so excuse me, I'm unpicking. Oh, there's one as well there. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Look at that. It's just a little bit annoying. Anyway, princess problems. So I'm going to do the button band. Well, there's no buttons. I'm going to do the collar and the band again, and then do the cuffs. But because I pulled it out, and I'd started this before we moved, and it wasn't something I could take with me to knit, or you know, in the hotel or at my daughter's house. It's just too much. I mean, it's huge, and I think it took about 10 balls. I've pulled out 2 balls already, and then I've got 2 more to knit I think I've got enough to do the cups. I will finish it because I think it'll be useful, and I know it's not that colour on the pattern, but I am a sucker for grey. And this is Glum. They do another one in Bigwell called Concrete, but I think that's a paler grey, but I quite like Glum. So that's that. And you're knitting, yes, you're knitting it on really big needles. I think it's 9s, yeah, 9s and 10s. 9s and 10s, and I'm knitting the 3rd size, which was for a 36 to 38 bust. It goes from 71 to 76 to 122 to 127. So there's a few sizes there, but it's see, that's the shape of it there, the schematic. So I think it'll be useful just to, you know, to pull on, but I mean, she's wearing it beautifully, isn't she? I'll probably look like a sack of potatoes in it, but anyway. So that's that one. So that is all I have on the needles. Yeah, I haven't done any. Obviously, I haven't knitted anything for anybody that I've had to give away, but no, I'm a bit of a selfish knitter, actually. Right, so shall I show you? I got 2 advents this year, and I got one from Sherry Iris, the Regency edit, and I got the full skeins. I decided last year I got minis from the Camel's Yarn. Beautiful they are. I still haven't done anything with them because I'm not really quite sure what to do with them. I don't like knitting blankets, and I don't like knitted blankets. I like woven blankets, but I don't like knitted blankets. And always a bit stuck for what to do with. So I got a camel's yarn one again, and the beauty of the camel's yarn is you can pay in stages. I think you can pay 3 lots, 3 payments. So that's what I got. I got the seaweed, the art of seaweed, and it comes like that. You get the art of seaweed, and it's a beautiful little notebook and paintings and things, and all explaining about seaweed and the various names and you know, just absolutely beautiful little book. And you've got a seaweed paper journal, which I haven't opened yet, but a notebook, and then some sea kelp, lime and bay soap. Lovely. And then you get 5 skeins. Now, I'll open these quickly. I'll just pull them out of the box and then show you. And they are the most gorgeous colours. I should have planned this, sorry. And this was to open through the weeks of Christmas, 4 weeks. Well, I got 5 skeins to open the run up to Christmas. And these are the colours. Aren't they beautiful? But I don't know what to knit with them. I'm thinking I'll think of something. I don't know if I want to knit a shawl. I'd like to knit a garment, but I'm not into stripes. And these are that's the common. This is in Comfort DK, which is an alpaca silk and cashmere mix. 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. And this coming up lighter. It's a beautiful rosewood colour. It's gorgeous, and they're all named after the seaweeds. And this one is Sargasso Forest. Beautiful, beautiful. They're good, and it's so soft. The Advent I got last year was in the Comfort fingering. It was the same alpaca silk and cashmere, and that's a gorgeous. See, they're all coming out of. They're blowing out of it a little bit lighter. I think this kitchen is a lot lighter than my old kitchen, and the window's just there. It's a small window, but the window's there. But then I've got French windows here, and then another window there. And that's lovely. That one is Seaweed Burners. So that's my advert from Camel's Yarn. I'm going to think very carefully about it. I think, don't know. I think a little browsing through Ravelry may we'll see. And it comes in a lovely keepsake box. It's all precariously balanced. And then this one was the Regency edit from Sherry Iris and Pride and Prejudice. Oh, you can smell the soap. So it's a weekly yarn advent, and with little quotes, and the all comes, you know, beautifully as always, beautifully wrapped, and you get the soap in here. There's a tea light. There's the gorgeous little lavender pot. So many of these. They're so useful. And one of the skeins, you get a little progress keeper. So there's that one, and they're all 100 gram skein with 2, and then there's this one. That one's Sense and Sensibility. That's Pride and Prejudice. This one's Sense and Sensibility. This one is Northanger Abbey. I like that one, that's gorgeous. And, well, they're all gorgeous. And this one is Emma. And I think these will be socks. I think. And there's the little quotes from from Northanger Abbey and Pride and Prejudice and Emma and Sense and Sensibility. So that was my advent from Anna. Oh, I can smell the soap, it's beautiful. So that. So those were my 2 advents. I did get another advent, but it's a stitchy one, and I'll show that when I show my sewing diaries. I think that's what my daughter called them, the sewing diaries, the kitchen knitters sewing diaries. Anyway, so the other thing, I bought some yarn. I'm not sure if I've shown you this. From the Camel's Yarn, I want to knit this, and it is the Wine Club cardigan by Sari Nordlund, and I think it's one of her latest releases, and it doesn't specify a yarn. I think on her podcast when she talks about this, she explains what yarn she uses. I can't remember what it is, but it's just, you either use a DK or you hold fingering and mohair together. Is there another picture? There's a picture here. I don't think I'm giving too much away there. There's a picture there of it in the making. Looks a bit grey there, but it's like a brown, and it's perfectly plain. It has a deep rib and obviously V-neck, but it's top down and there's lots of shaping, but I just thought, I like that. I really like that. I like all of Sari's, but some are really, the Poet socks I bought that pattern, but I've also bought her books. And I'm going to knit it in the DK. I'm going to knit in this, which again is coming out a bit lighter. And this it's a non-superwash Blueface Leicester, 75% Blueface Leicester, 25% Masham, grown and spun in Great Britain. Did she say Great Britain or UK? Spun in Britain, and it's Camel's Yarn. And I've bought 5 skeins, so I think I've got enough. And this colourway is undyed. It's undyed, so it's very natural. Gorgeous. So that's what I'm going to knit with that. My other knit is a shawl, which I think was test knit for John Arbon. Anyway, it's the twig. Someone test knitted with John Arbon yarn. Well, I might be making that up. Anyway, I'll just show you. It's the twig shawl by Tin Can Knits, and it's really nice. And I'm going to knit it in this. The pattern requires a sport weight. No, it doesn't. It's a DK. It's DK. I bought this, and I bought some more from Nervous Fibres. I bought this as well. But this is a sport weight. So I think, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really sure about these weights, but I'm going to knit it in this, and this is called Crimson Glow, and it is the Devonia DK from John Arbon. It's beautiful, Cinder Glow, and it is 50% Exmoor, 30% Blueface Leicester, and 20% Lustre Breeds, and it is gorgeous. It's a sort of, it's coming out, everything's a bit lighter, but it's just such a moody, it's not purple, it's not black, it's just that moody, oh, it's gorgeous. So I'm going to knit that shawl in this. I bought two skeins. I wanted to get, they released their Christmas yarn, Figgy Pudding, and I thought, oh, that's lovely, but I missed. And they did it to, and I'm a mill member, and they released it to mill members, and with the move and everything, I wasn't on top of everything. So I missed my chance, but there was a comment on their Instagram post, someone said, is this very similar to Cinder Glow? And I thought, oh, I'll have a look at Cinder Glow. And I think it might be. I think Figgy Pudding is more brown, is a little bit more brown, but that is lovely. Love that. Gorgeous. I don't know if you can, yeah. So that's, and I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm sort of knitting this for next winter, really. And so and at the same time they released, and this is Melia, and it's on their Seafarer base. I've got a few skeins of the Seafarer in the Moby Dick and Scalpy. It's those little sea creatures called after. Anyway, I think I might have shown you on my last podcast, but this is Nervous Fibre, and it is, I think I say Melia, and it is on their Seafarer base. Colourway Melia. It's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And I think I'll knit a shawl in this, but it is a sport weight, so I'll have to. I'm a bit nervous about using sort of like a DK for a sport weight and things like that, because just in case it's not right. But I do like gorgeous colours, beautiful greens and caramels, rust, beautiful. So that's, I might have decided what I'm going to do with that next time the podcast. I might have even decided what I'm going to do with those advents. So that's it, 47 minutes, oh dear me. So thank you for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking. I'm going to be a better podcaster this year. I have the time now because I'm retired. I was sort of thinking, oh no, I need to do this and that on my day off because I'll be at work tomorrow or something like that. I don't have that anymore. So I'm now going to put all this away and edit, and I might make a cake for everyone coming around this afternoon. I just might make a cake. We'll see. I've got some lemons there that need using up, so be a lemon drizzle, I think. I'll see you soon. Bye.